Class starts in 4 minutes, but I figured I would get us started, at least get the stream started now, just in case I couldn't get it right. So we're up. I'm gonna pause this and you can get yourself settled for this class today if you're just popping in now. Blanket and a strap and a mat. And you can find a comfortable seat and we'll get started when everyone's ready. I think it's still live. I know there's a way for me to oh, there we go. All right. Hey everyone, hi. I'm just gonna make sure that the camera is focused. There we go. Hi and welcome to our class for yoga to bring a little bit of joy into your day. My name is Julie, and I'll be teaching this class today. This class, by the way, is part of our Teens and Yoga for Families program. It's free. It's on YouTube every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. EST. Welcome. Hi. It's so good to have you here. I have to tell you, the context of this class is obviously, and it's probably going to be true always, but it's something very close to where I'm at right now, which is that at the time of this recording, it's late winter, so early February, and I don't do well in cold, dark months, and it's been cold and dark for a couple of months now. But more than that, I've had my own personal struggles, and I feel like there are times when I can go days, weeks without feeling joy. And that might be true for you. And if it is, then this class is really dedicated to beginning to find that joy. One of the things that we learn in yoga is that these feelings, every feeling that we've ever had, right, it's always within us, right? It's always available to be accessed. What happens in day-to-day life is that we can kind of layer stress and worry and issues on top of those feelings, and we can kind of lose that connection to happiness, to joy, to contentment, to excitement, to surprise. We can lose that connection with the heaviness that comes with being a human being. I think it's important to know, and I would love to talk about this more, but I'll just give you a little tidbit. It's important to know that we are, as human beings, hardwired towards the negative, right? We are, it's a survival technique of the brain, and it has been working to keep us alive and well for millennia. But here's the thing, right? If we know that the brain is hardwired towards being in the negative, being in the worry, being in the fear, being in the survival, then sometimes we have to work at it a little bit to get out of that fear reactivity and survival mode and into the lightness and the joy and the contentment, which is you and is your natural state of being. And I truly believe that. I've spent a lot of my life really dedicated to undoing my stories, letting go of my own traumas and my own hardships, and coming into the idea that contentment and joy gets to be right now, no matter what my circumstances are. And I have traveled internationally to communities that did not have a lot of resources, and I found more happy people that didn't even have access to clean water than I probably could count in my entire town here. There's a lot of people in my town. So it's important to know that accessing joy and feeling joy is our natural state of being. It's something that we can choose to work towards. And I'm not saying it's easy, because life is hard and we all experience grief and hardship. And there's times when it's just, life can be challenging. But that joy is within you. And so that's what we're going to kind of pull through and pull out and connect with today. So here's my challenge to you. If you have the opportunity, as you're getting set up for class, which, let me give you your materials, and then I'm going to give you the assignment. So your materials for today will be a yoga mat, if you have it, not necessary, a blanket, and a strap. Now, if you don't have a yoga mat, no worries. You can just have a floor. I'm sure you've got that. You can have a blanket or a towel or just something to prop up your hips so you can sit up a little higher. And then the strap can either be a belt or an exercise band, or really a scarf, anything where it has a little bit of length to it that you can wrap around your body. So now your challenge. So your challenge for our class today is, if you can, if you're on a computer, this is possible. If you're not on a computer, it might not be, and that's okay. But if possible, bring up on your computer a kind of like a joyful playlist, something a little uplifting. If you don't have ideas immediately in your head, you can search for, like if you have Spotify, you can search for happy, and there will be stuff there. You can also search for, I don't know if you can have multiple YouTubes open at once, but there's plenty on YouTube that is also available that is free. Or you could, what was I going to say? Or, if you have the option, you can just put on a Disney soundtrack. I'm not kidding. They're like always really, not every song is happy and positive, but there are enough. The two that we've had on repeat in our house lately have been Moana, the Moana soundtrack, which I love, and Encanto, which has been, again, an ongoing looped around playlist at our house. And I swear it's part of the reason why I've been bursting with joy lately. So I'm going to let you get set up. I'm going to get set up. I'm going to take my time, take a sip of tea. If you have water nearby, good to grab that. Make sure that you are nice and hydrated. And make sure that the camera adjusts with me. I think it is. We're going to start standing today. And I'm going to kind of coach you through this because, there's moments where I need this. So I'm kind of like almost making this class for future me that I know is going to need. It's going to need some coaching back into joy. It's just the way it is to be a human being. I don't think there's a way around it. I personally love being in joy. I can't always get there. So that's why we have practices like this. So we're going to start standing today, and I want you to just start by kind of like moving your body. I'm shaking my limbs, shaking out a foot, and then shaking out another foot, shaking out my hands. You can see me doing that. Anywhere where you feel like a little bit of tension, you can kind of swing your arms. Right? There's no right or wrong way to do this. We're just kind of opening up the body by moving in a way that feels good. You could make some arm circles. Yeah. Just like intuitively move. If you're not sure what to do, just keep shaking your hands. I feel like for some reason, we have this, or I tend to have this like symbolic need to like hold my grief or stress. And so, shaking out my hands is kind of like me just letting it all go. So shake out your legs, shake out your body. Again, if you have a good soundtrack on, if it's like uplifting, you can kind of dance with it, right? We were doing that earlier, my 5-year-old and I, and it was a lot of fun. And so let's just give it another minute to move kind of in any way that you'd like. We're just trying to get a little bit of opening to happen in the body before we start our practice. There you go. You can hear my knees snapping to the beat. All right. So now that we are a little bit warmed up, we're going to come into our power pose. Now, mountain pose, you may know this, you may not. Mountain pose is the pose in yoga. It is the origination point. Everything else is just a variation of mountain pose. So finding this shape is super important because it is also about finding the foundation of our own practice in our bodies. So let's find feet about hips width distance, soft bend in your knees, hips over your toes. Bring your shoulders up to your ears and roll your shoulders down your back. Awesome. You can flip your palms open and you're going to stretch your hands down towards the earth while also rolling those shoulders down your back. Awesome. Little lift in the heart, little lift in the crown of the head. I want you to feel big and tall and open, right? I'm going to turn to the side so you can see me. Lift in the heart, right? Nice, strong, open stance. We're going to give this a good solid 5 breaths, okay? And when you breathe, I want you to try to direct your breath into your ribs. If that doesn't work, just breathe. You're doing it already, right? So let's take a nice big breath in and let it go. Awesome, big breath in and let it go. One more breath in and let it go. One more inhale and let it go. Awesome. Now you can keep your body in this stance, or if you want, you can stack your hands on your heart. And you can just close your eyes for a moment or soften your gaze or stare at the earth. And I want you to take a moment to connect inside. You don't have to go all the way in. We don't need to go to the depths. Just connect with your heartbeat. Maybe connect with your tissues. And just take a moment to notice where you're at right now. Right? Where's your energy right now? Are you feeling a little sluggish? Are you like, what is this class right now? That's okay. If you're like totally on vibe with me, great. And if you're anywhere else, anywhere in between, awesome, right? Welcome. So glad to have you here. Right, so just notice where you're at. Notice where you are at. We're going to work a lot in the heart and the shoulders today because a lot of times it is where the joy tends to be most accessible. We'll also work a little bit into the hips and legs and do some nice stretching. So just take a moment to connect with that heart. And once you feel like you've got it, like you're aware of kind of how you're showing up today, we'll take one more big breath in. Let it out. Yeah, here we go. All right, you're going to take your feet nice and wide. We'll start by stretching our hands up to the sky. And you want to bring one hand onto one wrist, stretch up tall, and then reach to the opposite side. Yeah, so we want to find length in the side ribs. We're starting to access the heart, access the body. Yeah, access that joy by stretching the armpit. Because why not? It's close enough. Right? I feel like sometimes we kind of have to sneak our way around it. So we'll start from the side and slowly work our way forward. All right, take one more breath in here. All right, come back through center. Other hand, other side. Reach up and then stretch over. Yeah, so nice big stretch in the ribs. Opening up, finding length and space in the side ribs and the hips. Breathe in, breathe out. Find that joy. All right, stretch that armpit. One more breath in. All right, coming back to center. Stretch both arms up to the sky. Make yourself nice and wide like a star, and then open up through the heart. Again, I'll turn so you can see that there's like a little bit of a back bend happening here. Not a lot, just a little bit. Yeah, perfect. Now we're gonna roll slowly down to the earth. And as we do, you can bend your knees. And this is where we're gonna turn inward and just kind of let go of the pursuit of joy for a minute. You can kind of scratch your head. My hair is feeling a little like it needs some love. I think every part of all of us probably does. If you want, you can bring opposite hand to opposite elbow and kind of shift side to side. And here you can connect with your breath, and if you'd like, you can sway side to side like the base of a grandfather clock. Let's take a nice big breath in, and let it go. There you go. Awesome. One more big breath in, and let it go. Awesome. For this class, if you have socks on, this is a good time to remove them because we do need the grip of the mat. It's a bad habit I have. It's okay. We all have those, I'm sure. Let's walk hands forward and walk legs back. You can come into a plank if you want, or drop your knees. Totally up to you. We're just kind of warming up the body and specifically warming up the shoulders. So you don't actually need the whole lower body engaged in this. We really want those super strong shoulders. Let's give it 2 breaths here. One more breath in. Awesome, let's let it go. We're gonna take knees nice and wide, toes to touch, come into a child's pose. Yeah, ooh, stretch the hips. And we're just kind of beginning to tone and connect with the body. So no pressure here to have, any kind of perfect alignment, not that that really exists, but don't feel like you need to have this be a certain way. All we want to do is make sure that you're moving safely and that you're connecting with your body and your tissues and your breath and your mind, or, just trying to, while we land here and move on the mat. Let's give it one more big breath in here and let it go. Awesome. All right, come on up to a tabletop. Before we really get going here, we're just gonna make some movement in the rib cage and the torso. So, starting here, hands and knees on the ground. Let's tip the tailbone and the head up to the sky. Drop those ribs down to the ground and we'll give ourselves a nice big breath in. And on your exhale, you can round your spine, drop your tailbone and your head down to the ground. Whew. And we'll continue in some cat and cows. You can follow your breath. Breathing in, lifting up. Breathing out, emptying out. And if you want, you can kind of do a little tail wag. Oof, it's good for the low back. And then if you want, you can round and empty. Let's do 2 more of those. And if at any time, right, the breathing doesn't sync up with what I say, please don't worry about it. You do your thing, right? We're all breathing all the time. And if modifying it is not working for you, then, you do you. All right, we're going to come to a tabletop here. And we're going to start to shake up the limbs a little bit. And so we already did that, kind of shaking the hands and the feet. We're going to do it this way, though. So I want you to imagine just kind of like drawing your hips down towards your heels. And then rather than going forward, we're going to kind of dip over to the side and then come forward. Shoulders maybe past your fingertips. And then dip over to the other side and come down towards the heels. So you get it. We're making a circle with the torso. There you go. We're just going to do a couple of these. It's a great way to warm up the joints. Ooh. And also just get things flowing. When you're ready, you can move to the other direction, the other way. Forward, side, back, forward. North, south, east, west. Or I guess it would be north, west, southeast, or northeast, southwest. There we go. That's a fun little brain teaser. All right. One more circle. Getting at all those, all those different parts and pieces. All right. We're going at it. So we're going to send one foot forward. You can just step it forward. You don't have to do anything, any kind of fancy transition. And for this shape, I'm going to bring a blanket underneath my knee. You're going to see me do a quick change there. And I'm just going to bring my hands up to my front knee. So again, if you have blocks, that's a great way to support this shape. You don't have to, though, if you don't have them. And you're going to press into that front foot and then just sort of draw the front hip back a little bit. So we're just kind of like, what we want here is to feel this grounding nature, right? The strength of the ground, the strength of your muscles, the strength of that thigh. Often when we feel a little stressed or anxious, it's like this separation from our own strength, our own autonomy, our own ability to create and shift things in our lives. And so I love coming into these more strength building shapes in the beginning of class because it's just like, oh wait, I am strong. Oh wait, I've got this. Oh wait, I can totally do this. Right? So let's give it one more breath here. Now, if you want, you can tuck the back toes. I kind of like them tucked when I'm coming into more of a bold shape. And if you want, you can stretch your arms up to the sky. Now this to me is like a big, joyful expression. And you can choose a couple ways with your arms. You can just reach them up straight. And if you want, you can make them like goalposts. I like that. Bending your elbows, kind of pressing them back a little bit. Or if you want, you can bring your hands behind your head and kind of catch the back of your head. Press your elbows back and like lift up through your heart. Whew. It's like opening up all the things. But at the same time, we're strengthening here. So I want you to find what works for you, because any given day, one of these shapes is going to be maybe more preferable than the others for how you feel and how you show up. Great. Give it 2 more breaths. Nice and strong breaths. Breathe into your ribs. Yeah, you totally got this. All right, let's bring your hands to the front of the mat. Pick up that back knee. We're going to step forward. You bring your hands onto knees, halfway lift. Exhale, fold and let it go. Press to your feet. Rise on up, stretch up nice and tall. Exhale, let's find hands at heart center. Nice big breath in. Maybe sigh it out, let it out. How do we get underneath those layers of stuff towards the joy? Sometimes you got to shout it out, like you got to sing it out. So feel free at any point to scream it out is fine, right? That's all part of like how we release these layers of stress and get a little bit closer to the joy. Inhale, reach your hands up high. Exhale, let's fold. Bring your hands onto your knees. A nice big halfway lift. And then exhale, you can plant your hands. You can slowly walk back if you want. Step over that blanket. Find a plank pose. And then drop your knees. Let's come on down. Bring your belly onto the earth. We're going to slide our elbows forward and come into a Sphinx pose. If your hips are off the blanket, like mine are, not being a good demonstrator today. All right, then you wiggle yourself back. You want your hips on the blanket. It'll feel nicer. Bring your elbows underneath your shoulders. High five the ground with your nice wide spread fingers. And then just look forward, right? Look forward, send your heart forward. Melt your shoulders down your back. And don't worry, like I'm giving you a lot of instructions, so don't feel like everything needs to make sense on day one. It doesn't. It might never make sense. That's okay. I told you, I keep laughing. I don't know what it is. I have not stopped giggling the last 3 days. I don't know what has gotten into me, but I'm not complaining. All right, so you're going to press your elbows into the ground. Send your heart forward. Take 2 more breaths. One more breath in. All right, let's bend the knees, windshield wiper the legs side to side. I didn't say this in the beginning, but I'll say it now, and I'll say it, forever in all the classes. You don't need to be able to do every shape to be part of this class. Let's come on back to a child's pose. You can just hang out. You can do this entire practice in a chair. And one of these days I'll show you exactly what I mean by that. Just take a big breath in and let it go. And slowly come back up to hands and knees. Yeah. And then when you're ready, step that other foot forward. However you want to. Does not need to be graceful. It's not for me today, so definitely no pressure. Like to set that bar nice and low. All right, bring both hands onto your front knee. You can kind of sink yourself forward. And again, you want to feel press. Feel the strength of your body, right? You're so strong. We can forget this all the time, right? Things that feel bigger than we are kind of come in. They can weigh on us. They can feel like they're holding you down or pressing you down. I just want you to know, you're way stronger than you realize. You're way stronger than you realize. That's just true. So often we discount ourselves. We forget. Right? We can have these, negative feelings about ourselves a lot. It's so easy to forget how amazing you are. It's so easy. And so it's on each of us individually to just be reminded, you're amazing and you're so super strong. And whatever your strength looks like today is what it looks like. It does not need to be this. It can be something totally different, and that's just awesome, right? All right, when you're ready, you can stretch your arms up to the sky or make those goalposts or catch the back of your head. Your choice. I'm going to take option 2 this time. I like the goalpost arms. And if you want, you can tuck those back toes. Give your heart a nice big lift if you can. And it's a lift of the heart, right? A lot of times people just kind of slump back. That is not what we're doing. We're staying strong here. The core is still strong here. And you're just kind of lifting up the heart. Yeah. 3 breaths. Last breath in. All right, there we go. We're going to bring hands down to the earth. You can lift up that back knee, and let's step forward. Hands find your shins, nice big halfway lift. Exhale, fold, let it go. Walk your feet nice and wide. We're going to come back to this forward fold, and this time you can have your hands back in that opposite hand, touching opposite elbow. Or you can bring your hands onto the ground and just kind of sway side to side or stay in place. Your choice. Your choice. Give yourself a nice big breath in. Let it out. All right. Come on up to standing. Slowly. Bend those knees as you kind of inch your way. Up to the sky. There we go. All right. Inhale, reach your hands up. Exhale, hands find your heart. Breath in. Breath out. There you go. All right. We're going to come into a standing pose here. And again, I'm going to be real clear. You do you. You know what? Let's move the blanket to the side. You do you here. You can do this in a chair, by the way. It's actually, I'm not going to say it's easier, but you can do it in a chair. You're gonna have your right foot forward. Left foot is going to take a big step back. We're gonna do a quick standing series. I just want you to feel like the strength of yourself, right? The strength of your body, the strength of those muscles. So reach your hands up high. We're just doing the standing lunge. So we had our knee on the ground before. You can also come back to that if you want. And just reach up nice and high. Open up through your heart, open up through your ribs. Here, if you're saying words to yourself in your head, I am strong, I am capable, I got this. It's just 2 more breaths. One more breath in. Awesome. All right, we're going to turn to the long edge of the mat. You got it? There we go. Keep those front toes facing forward. Arms are nice and wide, out like a T. Bend the front knee. Let's find a warrior 2. Whew. Here we go. Just 3 breaths. All right, we're going to straighten the front leg and reach the hands up to the sky. And I want you to dance with me. You ready? All right, exhale, we're going to bend the knees, straighten the arms out to the sides. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, bend that knee. Yeah, let's do that 3 more times. Inhale, up. Exhale, bend the knee. 2 more. Inhale, up. And down. Last one, reach up. And bend into that front knee. Find that warrior pose. Give yourself a nice big breath in. Let it go. All right, last pose. Straighten the front leg. Reach your fingers forward, your front fingers forward. Find a triangle pose. Let's open up through the heart. Lift up through those ribs. Imagine someone's pulling your fingers up to the sky. Back when we used to be in person, man, sometimes we'd high-five each other in the shape. It's so fun. Imagine it, you know? High-five. You can, like, air high-five each other right now. Way to go. You're doing great. All right, 1 more breath in. All right, that's enough. Let's come on up to standing. We're just going to hop to the front of the mat, and then we're going to come to the other side. You can shake out your legs. No pressure. There we go. You ready? We're going to do the other side, and it's going to be super joyful and really fun. All right, press your left foot into the ground, or whatever the second side is. Step that other foot back. Find your big standing lunge. Send those arms up super tall. You're brave, you're strong, you got this. Like, no big deal. Awesome. 2 more breaths here. 1 more breath in. Awesome. Straighten everything. Turn to the long edge of the mat. Your back heel is parallel to the back edge of the mat. All right, we're going to bend the front knee and find that warrior pose, and then we're going to dance. You ready? Here we go. You can straighten your legs, reach your hands up to the sky. Breathe in. Exhale, bend. Let your breath get loud. We're going to build a little bit of joy and a little bit of heat. You got it. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more. Breathe in. Exhale. Breathe out. All right, we're going to hold it for 2 breaths because you're so super strong and you got it. Yeah. Awesome. There it is. All right, straighten that front leg. Reach your fingers forward. Find that triangle pose. Nice big lift in your ribs. Fingers reach up to the sky. Open up through your heart. Nice big spin open. Open, open, open. Last 2 breaths. All right, there it is. Come on up. We're going to step forward just so that we can find our way back down. So you can do that however you want. I'm going to reach hands up high and breathe in. And exhale and fold. Maybe find a halfway lift. And then crawl my feet back. And come into a downward dog just for a moment. You can lift your hips up high. And if you want, you can wag your tail. This is a big hit with kindergartners, by the way. I don't know if you know this. Preschoolers too. They love it.
You can kind of channel your inner preschooler, because we've all been that age, unless you're that age right now. Most of us have been that age, and you know that somewhere inside of you, it's pretty fun to wag your tail in downward dog. Yeah, it is. All right, last breath in. All right, come on down to the mat. All right, we're going to come forward and do a little bit of stretching in the heart, and then we're just going to stretch the legs and give ourselves a lot of joy and relief as we lay down on the ground. So you can have your elbows here in this Sphinx pose that we started with earlier. Elbows on the ground, fingers nice and wide. Hips on the ground, and then the heart pulls forward. That's a really nice place to be. If you want a little bit more stretch, and this is an if, it's an if you want, optional add-on, you can bring your hands closer to your heart and straighten your arms. Yeah, and lift up through your heart. All right, stretch through the ribs. Now I'll tell you that when I can't find my joy, it's usually a shape like this where it begins to show up. There's just something about stretching the stomach for me that like brings it all out. And maybe it's because it's in the solar plexus, and that's a place where I can be out of balance a lot. There's a whole lot of yoga behind that, by the way, but we're not going to get into that right now. Right now, we're just being in our shape, giving it one more breath, and then letting it all go. Bend your knees and windshield wiper your legs. Awesome. So for the rest of this class today, you can do it entirely on your back, or you can do it seated, and it's really up to where you want to be. If you feel like you're getting a little bit of an uplift now and you want to stay up, come to a seat. You can do the whole thing here, there. Let's roll onto our backs. Find your way, and then give your knees a nice big squeeze, nice big hug, and rock and roll a bit side to side. Yeah, I really like this shape. It can feel really nice on the back, especially when we do those big heart openers. So you can stay here. If you want, you can come into a happy baby. Happy baby, you're going to have your feet separate. My knees are outside my ribs, okay? My feet are pressing like they're standing on the ceiling, right? And then I'm gonna reach for either my toes or the outside edges of my feet. And once you get that, you can kind of press your knees out a little bit wider. Your low back is probably pressing into the ground now, and if it is, thumbs up, that's great. And then from here, if you want, option to rock and roll side to side. Yeah, and you'll start to roll out all that tissue in your back. And you can just feel that. Maybe you might feel that release in your back, and that can feel real nice. And so you just land here and rock and roll side to side, and we get to open up the hips. And there's something about this shape that it doesn't matter how many years I've done yoga. It's not really less awkward. It's just that I enjoy it so much, I don't care what I look like. So you can send your feet out nice and wide. You can feel that big stretch in your hips. Give yourself a lot of love, a lot of grace, a lot of, hey, you know what? If we're all doing it, then we all look weird. And we can all be weird together. And to me, that is like the ultimate joy, is when everyone gets to be totally themselves and we can laugh at it and let it be fun and joyful and just awesome. All right, so you can send one foot nice and long. I always start with my right leg. So my right knee's right now, I'm squeezing it into my chest. I have my fingers wrapped around my shin. And I'm hugging into my heart. So left leg is nice and long, or you can leave it on the ground. That's your choice. And then, just because, I like to give my ankle a roll or two and snap my toes. Because why not? And this shape is really, really good for digestion. So if, for instance, you have an upset stomach, for whatever reason, nerves or If, like me, right before this class, you went to a birthday party and ate a bunch of birthday cake, which I did, my stomach is not really happy with me. So one way that we work it out is by squeezing the knees into the chest. This is also called a wind relieving pose. I'm going to let you figure out what that means. Wind relieving pose. So when you have your knees squeezed into your chest, you always want to start on the right side because what we're doing is working with your intestines and we're squeezing them, right, to help to move things around and release them. Let's give it just one more breath. There we go. All right, now we're going to switch sides. So once we do the right, then we want to bring in the left. Give it a squeeze into your chest. And so you can start to close your eyes if you want. If you're ready, just relax it out. You can kind of tune out my voice and just glide into the joy of relaxing and laying on the earth. Yes. And if you're still listening to that pumped up playlist, I hope maybe that you've started to feel a little bit lighter. And if so, let's not forget, roll out those toes and ankle. Snap the toes. They make so much noise. Oh, awesome. And so if you're still listening to that pumped up playlist, by all means, just enjoy, right? Really revel in it. All right, let's bring both knees into the chest. Arms can be out nice and wide like a T. Knees are going to come over the hips. We're just going to do a couple of these. I'm going to drop the knees over to a side. Woo! Bring it up to center, and then drop it over to the other side. Woof. And then back up to center, and then over to the side. And back up to center. I don't know if anyone's appreciating my sound effects, but they're just kind of happening. One more each side. All right, come on back up to center. Send your feet up to the sky. You can pedal your feet. I want you to stretch your toes really wide. Yeah, stretch them really wide. See how much you can stretch your toes. Did anyone else do this when they were little? I just remember like laying on the ground and staring at my toes and like, could I make them a little bit wider? Could I separate them a little bit more? My sister could separate her toes like they were fingers. I did not have that much dexterity in my toes, but I kept trying. Anyway, let's do one more breath up here, stretching out the toes. Awesome. And then you can let it go. So now we've got our strap. And we're going to use that strap or the scarf or whatever you have that is like a strap. You can also use your fingers. If you have really long arms, you could probably just reach your toes. But strap can be nice. So you're going to wrap the strap around the ball of your foot. Right? So you want to be able to press. See how I can press it up to the sky? So right underneath my toes. Yeah. That's how you activate muscles. We want those. All right, so walk your fingers up close to the strap, up to the foot, and then wrap the strap around your palms so that you can just let your arms be heavy. And then you can just hang here. I'm going to give you a little like behind the scenes as to what we're doing in this class today. Number one, we're kind of reorienting ourselves with feeling strong and open, maybe trying new things, right? All of which are ways in which we can begin to access our joy. But we're also opening up some parts of the body that can feel really heavy. And when we can breathe into them and strengthen them and open them, we can, physically release stress from the body, which is just another way to help us kind of peel away the layers that might be in between us and our joy. All right, let's take one more breath in here. And let it go. All right, bend the knee. Switch feet. Other foot comes up to the sky. You can press it right up there again on the ball of the foot. So right underneath the toes. Arms are nice and long. There you go. Well, then once we've done all that, we're also moving a lot of just like, not just your blood, right, but your synovial fluid. We're opening up the joints. We're getting things moving in the body. When you're having trouble accessing your joy, again, like I said, the brain has this tendency to just stay where it is, right? You know that even if you're not feeling happy, right, if you're feeling any other emotion, you're there and like you're still existing, you're still alive. And so the brain will just be like, well, this is fine, we're okay here, so let's just stay here. And so you do. And one of the only ways that we can get out of that is to physically move the body and to physically move the breath and then change the thoughts. And so those can come in any particular order. As long as you get one, the other two will come easier. All right, we're gonna release that now. You can come onto your back. And if you want, I'm gonna give you a couple options. If you want, if your hips and your legs have just had enough today, those lunges, no joke, then you can just lay the blanket on your torso from like your ribs down to your knees. And that can feel really nice. I'm gonna give you one other option. You might have to sit up for it though. So you decide. You can make your blanket go nice and long, like this. And place it underneath your spine. Walk your hips up to it. And lay on the blanket. You want your head to be on the blanket. And if it works out right, then your head all the way down to your low back will be on the blanket and your hips will be on the ground. I'll just move so you can see. My butt is on the ground. All right, and arms can be up nice and wide. And gosh, if we've done our work, then maybe you want to stretch your arms up over your head. You're like, let that joy come on up to the surface. Get it out of me. Let it be like let it be on my surface, in my heart, and in my gaze. And if not, maybe arms are along the sides. But if you can, flip the palms up to the sky. Doesn't seem like anything in particular, but in yoga we learn that this is a receptive pose. A little lift in your heart, openness in your palms, flipping them up to the sky. This is open. You are open to receiving. When we are in our joy, we are open. We are receptive. And I'm going to give you one last thing. Actually, two things. I want you to imagine your mind for a moment. Picture your heart. And then maybe you can kind of imagine layers of like towels over your heart. And each of those towels is either a stress or something that might be weighing you down a little bit. And so maybe one breath at a time, maybe just really slow, you can start to peel away the layers of towels laying on your heart. Imagine like picking them up, just kind of tossing them to the side. Pick them up, toss them to the side. Pick them up and toss them to the side until you start to feel a little bit lighter in the heart. And then to help the process, right, of relieving the heart of whatever is weighing it down, we're also going to breathe to help to lighten the heart. And so as we breathe in, if you can, slowly breathe in and expand the ribs. And continue to breathe in and maybe expand through the heart. And on your exhale, let it all go. And we'll do that 3 more times. So slowly breathing into the ribs and slowly breathing into the heart. Filling up a little bit more with air and then letting it all go. do that one more time. Inhale, fill up the ribs. Inhale, fill up the heart. Sip in a little bit more air. And then let it all go. Last thing, last breath anyway. We're going to do a letting go breath. Now this one is a big ha sound on the exhale. I promise to be nice and vocal, nice and loud for you, but I want you to really let yourself make some noise. Let's give it a try. Take a nice big breath in. Sigh it out. Ha. Awesome. That is called a sigh or a letting go breath, and you can do that anytime you want. All right, we're on to our last thing. Last exercise. I want you to soften the muscles in your face, your forehead, your eyes, your cheeks, your mouth, even your chin and your neck, even your heart space and your shoulders. Right? Let it all just soften out. Yeah. All right. Now you're going to bring the two corners of your mouth, and you're going to lift them up and out to the sides. As you do so, you might feel the muscles in your cheeks engage, and you might feel a little brightness in your eyes. You might even feel a lift in your eyebrows. This is called a smile. And the brain is really simple and the body is really simple, and sometimes just starting the physical process of smiling will lighten your mood. I'm not kidding, it's real. It's science. And it's fascinating, and it's a really, really good thing. We have this internal mechanism. It's like an on button for joy. Now, you might not feel like tremendous joy, but when you smile in this way, you're guaranteed to feel a little bit lighter. And if you were to continue to talk, you can hear it in my voice. The smile is real. It has changed the way I sound, and it has changed the way I feel. When you're ready, and as you'd like, you can stretch your arms up and overhead, stretch your toes nice and long as far as they'll go. Nice big breath in. Let it go. Awesome. I'm going to bend my knees. Come on up to a seat. You're welcome to stay exactly where you are. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I wanted to end with just a couple of things that can be really, really helpful for accessing joy in your life. And I have them written on a piece of paper, so I'm going to come nice and close to you. So, number one, anytime you are in need of accessing joy, you have the ability to do what's called the smile. And that is literally just smiling. Just smile. It's amazing how much it can lighten your mood and make you feel a little bit better and make whatever is on your task list for the day a little bit easier. You can move your body. Any level of movement is going to start to produce endorphins in your body. We did it today. We engaged our muscles, right? That's why we did some more challenging shapes, and we stretched the body. Those are two ways that you can start to build endorphins, which will genuinely make you happier. The more often you do it, the more joy is available to you. It is a one-to-one sort of rate. Maybe not, because a little bit of exercise can give you a lot and a progressive amount of joy. Another thing you can do is just clear your head. Now, there's a lot of ways we can do this. Often, I have a tendency to go to social media or my phone. Not always the best way to clear my head, but it is one way that you can clear your head. Just make sure to set a timer so you don't do that too long. You can meditate. You can meditate. Oh gosh, one of my favorite ways to do this is a loving kindness meditation. It is like a guaranteed joy builder in your heart. It's amazing. You can dance and sing, be expressive, move your body in a way that is like joyful or empowering or whatever it is that you need. Singing, sound, music, it is in our DNA. It is part of being a human being and being alive. It is a way that we connect to each other. It is tremendously powerful. Maybe make yourself a joy playlist
or an empowering playlist or both. And when you're having a mood, you put that on and you get to change the way you feel. You can make something. Creativity, art, cooking, it can be so expressive, right? And that expression can bring out these feelings of joy in your heart. It can be really, really incredible. What else? Yoga and stretching, running or walking, just getting out into the world. Man, sometimes that's all we need, right? If it's cold out and you need to layer up and put 18 layers on like I do and warm things in your hands and in your boots, then that's what you do. But you can still get out into the world. And even if you walk 1 block and back, you still did something. You still helped to make that movement happen and change the way you feel. You can eat something that brings you joy. Sometimes I love going for a walk to get myself a cup of coffee, like some kind of special treat, and bringing that to satiate my body. There's a caveat to that, obviously, because sometimes we can just default to food and then do nothing else. And often we need a little bit more to find that joy. Last thing, maybe this will be a bit surprising, but accomplishing goals. I'm pretty certain that that's one of the main reasons why I feel so much joy, because I've gotten a lot done this week and I'm really proud of myself. And it's changed the way I feel. I wasn't in joy when I was doing it, by the way, but I was in joy when it was done. And a lot of times that's the same thing with any of the other things that I've talked about. It's not always in that moment, but after, man, you can feel so much better and it makes you feel alive and joyful. And then boom, right? State change. It's different. There's other resources, and once this video is done, I will put them in the resources in the comments so you can check them out. I think books can be a great way, audiobooks, podcasts, comedy. Not kidding, this is my medicine. Comedy is my medicine. I love it. Give me something short on TikTok. Give me, like a stand-up routine on Netflix. Give me anything on YouTube. I have some favorite comedians there as well. I'll try to link them there as well. So anyway, those are all your things. If you have something and I didn't say it, please make it in the comments so that I can share it with people as well. It's so important that we inspire each other to access and find our joy. I wish you well, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week ahead. And I will be here again next week to offer you another tidbit